Hi there, welcome to my first video on this new channel, which is basically for maths but also going to include some chess on here. This was a bullet game I played last night against a women's international master, who obviously is a lot better at chess than me. However, in a bullet game, I'm reasonably decent at bullet, and I managed to win playing fairly well. So I'm just going to quickly go through the game. Normally if I beat a title player, which is rare, it's more to do with winning on the clock or just being incredibly lucky. In this game, on the whole, I played fairly well. So she started with e4. I replied with knight c6, which is my favourite move in the opening, to both e4 and d4. She played d4, which is normal, and I replied with e5, tempting her to move forward and basically weaken her dark squares. So knight dances back and across to g6, and then I place my bishop on c5. These are two key ideas, having a knight over here, eyeing this square at some point, and trying to control the dark squares, my dark squared bishop as well. She just developed naturally, which a lot of people do in this opening, and I developed my knight, and then she played bishop e3, fully understanding how strong this bishop potentially could be. I played b6, preparing to take back with the b pawn if she took me, which she didn't. Looks like she's threatening b4 on her next move to try and force the trade. I move my bishop out, she attacks it. I can't really go back here. I'm going to lose my either a bishop or knight for 2 pawns, which is probably not a good idea. I could have dragged it back to d7 and played queen c8, and maybe hoping for her to castle and then maybe sack on h3, which I do quite a lot in this opening. But I decided that I'd just take the knight. She took back, and I decided to exchange. I was just a little bit up on the clock, 12 moves in, we're 10 seconds and 11 seconds we've used up. My position is fine at the moment. Developing my queen, so give me the option of castling both ways, but I don't want to castle queenside, because there's going to be a pawn storm happening pretty quickly. I think this was a mouse slip. I think she meant to play b4, and the reason I say that is because she plays it next move. I take the bishop, again just trying to simplify the position and stopping the knight hunting into b5. She castles and I castle. So I was quite happy with this position. I was 3 seconds up on the clock and material's the same. She's got a potential weakness on e3. At the moment my pawns are looking quite solid. So let's see what happened. She looked for a queen trade. I'm guessing if I took, she would have taken back with a pawn to get rid of her poor structure. Maybe she could still have taken with a rook and doubled rooks perhaps, but I didn't want that. I wanted her to take me, so I defended the queen. Not that I needed to, that my knight was there, but I wanted to keep my knight on f6. She exchanged. I took back. Looking like she wants to play c5. I come across to try and parry those sort of ideas, and then she decides to go back again. So I try and break the centre up with c6. She moves her rook forward, looking to double rooks and trying to get something going on the king side. I exchange. She has to take back with the knight, or she could have taken back with the e pawn. She couldn't have taken with the c pawn because I would have won her knight. And I'm quite happy to exchange off here. That was an interesting decision. I'm not quite sure why she took back with that, because that just lets my rook get onto a dangerous square and quite active. She doubles rooks as expected. I could have taken the a pawn, maybe I should have done, but I decided to double rooks just to keep them connected. She moved her pawn away, but those pawns are quite weak with her rooks away from defending them. I played f6. It releases my rook now. My rook was defending that pawn. I couldn't really let that pawn drop and let her rook into the game, so I played f6. She decided to play b5, not quite sure why, and also not quite sure why she didn't take back here. She played g4. As you can see her plan in a minute, she's going to play g5 and try and get in on the king side. But she's just given me a free pawn and 2 passes on the A file and the B file. And I've still got 30 seconds. So I'm winning now. This is a clearly winning position unless I muck it up. So she continues her plan. I'm quite happy to swap off one pair of rooks, even though it's getting her rook into a dangerous square on f6, attacking this pawn and making this a potentially decent pass pawn. But my A pawn is just too quick. There's nothing she can do. She takes the D pawn, she throws a check in, she throws another check in. She gets behind the pawn to stop it queening, but I can still queen it with a check, which protects this square now, and I can create a queen. Now she has to sack her rook for my queen, but I've still got a passer. I've still got this pawn here, and I've still got nearly 18 seconds to win this. She moves the king towards my e pawn, looking to try and get these pawns rolling, but again this b pawn is going to be too quick, and I just push it. I don't care about this e pawn. I'm just pushing because that pawn is going to queen far quicker than she is going to queen, and she's not going to queen. So she's got connected pass pawns here, but I got a queen and a rook that are far too strong. So I throw a check in and then start hoovering up some pawns. Then I hoover up another pawn, and okay, these potentially are dangerous if I'm not careful, but obviously with a queen and a rook I can soon pick them up. So check from the queen, check from the rook. That pawn is now going to drop next move because I'm attacking it twice, and then same thing's going to happen with the other pawn, and now it's just a very quick checkmate, or should be. Now I should have mated in 2 here, but I decided to move my queen back. I'm not sure why. Probably I just had sort of a moment when I thought, oh, I wonder if I could stalemate, but obviously I couldn't stalemate by mistake. But as it turned out, I had plenty of time, and we have the checkmate with the queen moving to a2. So there you have it. Nice to beat international master, women's international master, and to win playing fairly well. So I will be back online with another video very soon. Thanks for watching.